Hey everyone, it's Saturday the 22nd of March and it's 10 past 11 in the evening, and I am currently tinkering around with that PC I paid just £5 for at the car boot sale. What else is going on here? Anyway, so it didn't work when I first plugged it in. The power, it would just, well, the processor fan would just do one little spin and that was it, every time I pressed the power button. So I thought I'd just try the obvious, try the power supply. That's what it was. So I've stuck a power supply in there. The old one is here, just this old generic Storm 300 watt, but look at the fluff that's in there and there. But I'm feeling it may have overheated. I'm just moving it around and there's fluff and dust falling off of it. Hang on, that's better. The base plates are moving around because I'm using a Lego City at the minute. So I installed another power supply. I got a 500 watt supply in there at the minute. I don't know what the brand is, I can't see it from here. And it worked. It booted up once I'd stuck some RAM in. It's currently got 4 gigabytes of DDR3. And then I googled a few things. I googled the processor and found out that was just a Pentium dual core. So nothing special. Socket 1155, LGA 1155. And then I googled the motherboard, so if you want to do the same thing and find out what the specs are of this board, it's a Gigabyte GA-H61M-S2PV, and I will try and remember and I'll put that down in the description as well. And found out, that's how I found out what the processor socket was actually, but it can also support a max of 16 gigabytes of RAM, which surprised me because it doesn't have USB 3 built into the motherboard, it's only USB 2, so I thought that was an older motherboard. I didn't think it would be able to support what it does. But, it will support i3, i5, i7, pretty much, as far as I can tell, so long as it fits that particular socket it will support. So I went into my cupboard o' parts in the kitchen and I got my pot of Pentium processors here. I found an i7, so I stuck the i7 on. Regretted taking that bloody cooler off. I hate this style of Intel cooler. This one's got a peg missing because I had to steal one from this to replace it on there. In fact, I've replaced all 4 because all 4 broke. What likes to happen is that these little plastic bits there that are meant to go through the motherboard, and when you push that tab in, it's meant to splay them out and lock this into place. A very simple concept and does work, but these have a habit of splaying out and then they won't go through the bloody hole. I mean, I've got one broken one on there where they've snapped off and I've stolen the other 3 off of that. So once I've got the cooler back on, with some fresh thermal grease, the thermal grease on it was actually still pretty, greasy, it hadn't dried out, so I'm thinking that might have been done sort of fairly sort of recent years at least. That's what I use, just some cheapy stuff. Obviously not something that I care about. So, I actually tried booting it on that SSD and it booted fine. So I've now got another SSD because I don't want to wipe that one because that's my backup, literally just in case anything goes wrong with that one, as it did the other day. Decided to throw a hissy fit, but here we go. And I got it as far as here, except I had to just run this through the command prompt on my main PC because it was set to a GPT format, which means setup would not let me boot it. I've also noticed something else interesting with this. We'll get to that in a minute. So I had to change that to MBR, which is what I've just done through that, you know, set up a partition, etc. So it should work. Now the interesting thing that I found out with this is it will not boot from a hard drive. The setup refuses to, because it says the hardware on this computer may not support boot from this device. It doesn't do it when I connect an SSD, only when I connect a hard drive. So it's almost like that this motherboard system, or the BIOS, has literally been programmed not to accept these, like it's only for SSD. I'm assuming I can still plug in like the hard drive for storage and whatnot. Not that I've actually got anywhere to put that on this machine. I've just realised I don't know where I'm going to fix the bloody SSD to yet. Actually, I altered some BIOS settings. I should actually go back and put those back as they were. Ah, now this is what I was actually coming up with on the hard drives. So it is doing the same thing. Windows cannot be installed to this disk. The computer's hardware may not support booting to this disk. Ensure that the disk's controller is enabled in the computer's BIOS menu. So maybe there's a BIOS issue on this. Maybe the BIOS is going to need a reflash. Or even a reset. Is there like a jumper on this motherboard that I can yank? Sometimes there is, and it's usually around by the BIOS battery, and we can't see one. The only other option I've got is to like pop the battery out of there for 5 minutes. Let's just get rid of that. Shut it off. I'll just go into the BIOS once more. I'm not very good at doing videos like this, because if things start going wrong, I then start getting stressed and then just turn everything off and go away. If you ever wondered why I don't do many videos like what I'm doing now, that's why. I just don't feel I do a very good job of it at all. Right, I'm not pressing delete to get into the BIOS. F12 is boot menu and F9 is system information. I do like these UEFI BIOS. It says dual BIOS. Power management, don't need to worry about that. Peripherals, don't need to worry about that. MIT, advanced frequency settings. No, I don't want to touch any of that. Is there like a shortcut key just to set this back to defaults? F7, optimize defaults. Load optimize defaults, yes. Don't know what Q-Flash is. What's a utility? Am I going to need like a thumb drive or something for that? Yeah. I would need to see if I could find the BIOS and put it on a thumb drive. Well, we'll exit that for now. I will F10 and quit. F10 saves it and quits. Okay, so it's booting from CD perfectly fine. Good. So maybe, I thought it was a hard drive problem, maybe that's not then. Well, obviously it's not, because it's now doing the same thing with the SSD. But the silly thing is, if I put in an SSD which has got an OS on it, it will boot. And actually the same with this hard drive, because I've just remembered I booted Windows Vista from this on here. I totally forgotten about that when I thought to myself, well, maybe it doesn't boot from hard drives. It does. I suppose booting and installing are two different things really, aren't they? If this doesn't work, then I'll probably come back to this tomorrow, because I'm going to need to find a flash drive and do a spot of Googling to see if I can find a BIOS for this. I've got a feeling that might be what the issue is. If you know, resetting BIOS to defaults is not going to work. What I will try is, what I will do, I think, if this doesn't work, I'll shut it down, pop the BIOS battery out for a little bit, pause the camera, I'll Google it, see if I can find a BIOS update for this motherboard. I mean, I can still get the details for this board off of the Gigabyte website. That's where I've got all the info from. So I'm just assuming I could get the BIOS. That's worked. Resetting it, so there must have been a setting in that BIOS that I couldn't find. I don't need to do that, let's just go for it then. So all this time I could have put a hard drive on it, but that's a bit pointless these days, isn't it? I'm actually surprised that Seagate still does anything. It's a Seagate. I don't like Seagates, in case you couldn't tell. In my own personal experience with computers, I've had the worst experience with Seagate hard drives. I've had some Maxters fail on me, but I haven't really used that many of them. I do strongly prefer Western Digital. That's what my main rig is running, 3 of them. 2 2TB drives, and for some reason one 500 gig. I don't know why I put that in there. I'm guessing that's just what I had at the time. I think that's the one I used to record my gaming channel videos to. Can't imagine that this is going to take long. I want to get this installed somehow, so I'm going to need some screws. Oh, that pops off nice and easy. Can I get this cover off? Whoops. Broke the tab. Can I get the cover off? Yep, because I broke it. There we go. I don't know why I do things like that, because I've now got to go over there and pick the damn thing up, haven't I? There's a little bit of dust in there, but at least I know this works. This is what I wanted to do. Don't really need a card reader on here. Oh, I didn't think I could put a fan on the front, but maybe I can. I'm going to have to go and find some fans. I'm going to need one that's got a Molex connector on it, and I can put one on with a proper fan board connector. My brush on here anyway, because I just want to give that a little bit of a sweepy sweep. It's not too bad. Considering what the power supply looks like, this is not too bad. So I've got 2 front USBs, 1 front audio. I don't know what way round they are though. Let's just have a look on this bit. Okay, headphones is the bottom one. I'm really surprised at how capable this little motherboard is. I know it's only got 2 DIMM slots, So if I actually wanted to, I could go out and get like 2 8GB sticks of DDR3 and that should run on here fine. The i7 I put on there is 3 point something gigahertz. I'll get the info up in a minute. But I've got i3s, I've got all sorts I could have chucked in there. I've even got some i5s spare and I don't actually know if they work. But I've now got that heatsink on there. I ain't taking it off again, it's got fresh thermal on it so that it's staying as it is. I've learnt that lesson a few times, you know. Don't fix what ain't broken. Right, so that's it. So I'm going to pause the camera, let this do what it's got to do. I'm going to see if I can find a couple of I can't remember what size these fans are. I know 120mm are common on the more modern computers, but this is not 120mm, this is smaller. Anyway, I'm going to go hunting and I'll be back in a little bit. That was quick. It's installed already. I ain't kidding. That was pretty quick. I have got as far as just putting the rear fan on. That is it. I've not even got this one screwed on. Which is the next task. And I want to just check to make sure that works. And just for the giggles, I'm going to see if I can get this to fit in it. I don't know if I will, because that is very close to the RAM. I also found some more RAM that I'm going to experiment with, so I don't know if any of that is any good. I don't know. Now that I think of it, I think some of it is perhaps DDR4. Okay, so there's one screw hole right there. Do apologise if my big head is in the way. I think one lines up somewhere there. I didn't bring an adapter through because I could only find one with that connector on that would fit there, as nice as it did. So next job. I need a SATA cable. I want to test that hard drive and I forgot to bring a bloody SATA cable through. Right, well, that's up and running. What I will do is just go into System. System, Control Panel. I don't like category view, never have done. Where's System gone? This display, I don't want to go into that yet. .4 gigahertz. Intel i7 2600. I don't know if I've got any more i7s in my box, I'll have to have a little look. So I think I shut down. Rear fan's going to be a piece of cake. I could even put one on the side if I wanted to, I think. Power, shut down. Need to find somewhere to mount that. I need to find screws from the thingy. What bunny? What do you call it? Card reader, that's the one. You want to get there eventually. Need slightly smaller screws though, I think. I think it's going in. Yep. Now that that one is held in, I'm going to plug this in. Way up as it got to go. Not way up, I think. Indeedly doodly, it does. There we go. Can't really see in here through the side panel, so I'm not going to worry too much about cable management. I mean, I could sort of bodge, I think, maybe, if I can get the holes to line up. I could get one hole to line up on the side there for the SSD, so I could potentially do that. Right, get this fan plugged in. It can go on the fan header down here. I've only got one on this motherboard. It's actually advertised as a durable motherboard as well. I don't know. And the truth is that heatsink could have done with a good dust out now that I look at it. I've just done that and loosened the whole thing off. Because I can't twist that one properly to bloody lock it. I did find another heatsink, but I don't know if it'll fit on this. I'll have to try it, that's all. That one's very loose, but I'll worry about that later. It's on there at the moment, so I need an adapter for that. That's in there, that's connected. I've got 2 screws in that fan, haven't I? So I can pop my cover back on. Got to, is it one of them? Well, you've got to do, yeah, do that side first. And then click this one in, maybe. Is it in? I think it is. Right. When we test that hard drive, I am going to need another one of these. Put the power in. Let me just go and get a couple of cables. Voila! Cables! I'm sure I'm forgetting something else as well. Alright, let's get this plugged into the board, like so. That can plug into here, like so. I've got another Mollux here. Around the right way. Duh. Okay, log in SATA to this. It says fire it up. Get off the cooler. Yep, yep. No, I can already tell that's dead from the noise it's making, so. Is that going to do anything, or is that just completely throwing it off? I would feel so much better if we could sort that epoxy heatsink out once and for all. What was that? I'm just going to grab that other one. Forgot to bring it through. Don't even know if it's going to fit, because it could be the same spacing as these. I believe it is. yeah. It's the only other intel I've got. I don't have a heatsink for this. That one's locked on. I think that one's locked on. It's this one here that's being a bitch. Okay, I've got that one to lock. I've got them to lock, I think. Now I've got some other sticks around here as well, so we'll have a little look at that, shall we? I don't remember what's what. Don't know if this is DDR3 or DDR4 now. Must be DDR4 because it won't fit. What else have I got here? Where's me bloody eyeglass gone? There it is. Yeah, we've got 4 gig here. That's PC4. That's DDR2. Found all this in the kitchen. 8 gigs DDR4 right there. Oh no. Nice if that worked. Another 4 gig. That's too old. I don't know why that's in this plant. And a 1 gig PC2. Okay. I believe these are 2 4 gigs, so we'll try it on this. I might actually have to do some cable management to keep them out of the way of that fan. I tell you what, there's really no space between the epoxy CPU cooler and the RAM. Is it going to do anything? It's not throwing any error beeps. But I'm not seeing it do anything up there either. And it's just shut off. Just make sure I didn't dislodge it. No, we've got a boot cycle now, so I'm going to presume make sure that's discharged. It didn't throw an error beep as, so I'm assuming that is good RAM, it's just this doesn't like it. Where did the other one go? Oh, there it is. What is this actually rated at? Wrong sticker. It's 10660. What is this? 12800. Yeah, that might be why. I'll probably have to try and find some different sticks. Oh, get in there. In you go. There we go. Right, switch on. Power. On. We'll try again. Okay, so once it started doing that, So maybe it's not the RAM then. That's weird, that's to suddenly start to do that. One peg has come loose again. I'm just going to pause for a minute. Right, I had to pause the camera for a while because this was getting frustrating. But it is working. I have got the processor on, then the computer decided it didn't want to boot, it kept shutting off. So I just played around trying to find whatever other processor I could to fit. Unsuccessfully. The i7 is actually the only one I have that fits. None of the i3s or anything I've got will fit. So they're obviously a different socket type. I might actually have to get my vacuum up here and just vac this. But I've also upgraded the RAM. That blue RAM does work. Ooh. Well, it was. I've shut it down, so let's see. I've got all the fans reconnected, everything is reconnected. There we go. I don't know, I put the i7 back in and now it's booting. I don't know if I dislodged something maybe that was causing it. That boots quick as well, look at that. Boots quicker than my main rig there. But then again, that's got, you know, about 4 years worth of stuff on it, so. Well, it's working, it's not a bad little rig really. I just wanted something for a home office, you know, it could do with some more storage. Which would be a problem with this case because there is nowhere to put it. Well, there is, you could put a hard drive on there, but then you'd have to put the SSD somewhere. Unless I've got an adapter to go in one of these hard drive bays. I could get one of those and just stick it in there. I don't think they're that expensive. But then I could put like, well, you could put like 1 terabyte drive, 2 terabyte drive, whatever you want underneath it, or even an SSD if you wanted. That's what I want to do with my main rig at some point, upgrade it to all SSD. Just remember, I've only put one screw in that card reader, but that's all connected up again. Everything's connected up. And for the giggles, I could put that in, but really I think for what this would be used for, if at all, I don't think that would be necessary. But you could do some mild gaming with it if I threw this in there. Remember what processors on my spare rig. What I need to do really, if I want to make this a fully usable machine, apart from sticking Windows 11 on it, of course, I have to run all the updates and everything. I think what I need to do is actually Try and find another couple of screws to put in that card reader. One's not going to cut it. There's another one. I even had the motherboard out of this. Just to get that bloody heatsink on there properly. Are you going to go in there? I don't know what that was. Oh, I can see. I can see it. One round the other, at least one round the other side. And there we go, there's one. That one's a self-tapper, but it might work. But I'm not going to use it. I think. I've got another one there. Right, I've got the original processor up here. Which, if you wonder what the original one actually is, it is an Intel Pentium. .6840 G840, I think. It's one of them two. 2.8 gigahertz. I did. That's it, G840. Sorry, I did Google that, and it did come back as a dual core. Thought the machine had frozen for a second there. Don't do that to me. It was bad enough with my main rig freezing the other day. Right. I want to keep this processor separate because I know it's the only one that fits. Let me just check that I've picked up the right one. No, I haven't. That's a Core 2 quad. I believe I want that one. That screw is actually too big. I have to find another one. Screwdriver. Put that through. That'll sort those cables out in a minute. What one is it in here? It is in that one. It's a bit more awkward this side, so I think I'm just going to put the one in. I do apologise for putting my big head back in the way. Big head back in the way. I want to say the back of my big head, but it didn't quite come out that way, did it? What's this one? All these processors laying everywhere. I've got two of these. No, that one's a different one. That's the spare one. I'm still getting them confused. Okay. Now, ideally, I want to try and find one more. There's got to be one more. There's only one whole line up for that SSD, so. For some reason there's a hard drive jumper in my pot of screws. Let's try that one. So I'd actually rather have it, you know, somewhat attached to something. I do hate screws. Apparently they hate me as well. It's actually gone 1 o'clock in the morning now. That's how long I've been faffing around with this thing. Yeah, the whole line up, but that's fine, that'll hold it, you know, in place. I'll stop it somewhat, just flapping around at least. I don't know if I've got anything to chuck in here. I was a bit silly really, because I should have put that further up and then put a hard drive in there for storage. Never mind. Unplug stuffs for now. Turn this around. I haven't plugged that back in, so I can't be the disk drive that was being the issue. That wouldn't make sense. And what did I do with the side panel for this side? Right in front of my face. Literally, it was right in front of my face. I've not done a video for a long time where I'm going to have to splice so many sections together. And things like the die-cast haul videos and whatnot, I do those in one take. You know, one sit through. Got several of these now. No good though. Right, where's the other ones gone? I've got one missing. It actually came with both for either side. Can't get hold of that screw. Get it? Yeah. Speaking of screws, my Aprilia Habana does not have magnetic screws, which means it's an absolute arse trying to put the screws in the glove box. I might see if I can find some magnetic equivalents to put in there actually. Oh, there it is. Alright, let's turn this back around. Fans connected. Like I said, I'm not that fussed about cable management in this. There's not actually a lot going on in here, so it doesn't matter. Oh dear, pardon me. I might put this side on anyway, can't I? If I want to chuck anything else in there, if I think of anything else to chuck in it, I can soon take this panel off. What if something got dropped on this at some point, because there's a dent right there, right on the curve. Huh. At least I can go to bed happy now that I've got it working again. I'll turn it on tomorrow and it probably won't work. Power supply looks a bit out of place in there because it's black and the backing of the case is not black. It's grey. That's why that's not going in there properly. the top tip, if you can do it, that is. You can't always do this, but if you can and you're struggling with a side panel, lay them down like that. Then you haven't got to fight gravity. Gravity then works with you and this drops straight into place. Just like that. Of course, if you've got like set up like my one there, that can be a bit difficult, especially when you've got lots of crap plugged into it. I just find it's just as easy to leave something like that as it is. But when you've got something like this, when you're just playing around with one, just lay it on its side. There we go. What started off as a £5 gamble basically has paid off. Even if I wanted to sell this, I don't think I'd get a great deal for it. Specs is still quite low. Chances are Windows 10's not, Windows 11 wouldn't like it to upgrade. But I really do. I like that. If you stick a 1 or 2 terabyte hard drive in there, or even something bigger, you've got a nice little rig. Nice, a little GPU like that, you could do some gaming with it at least. Mobile games seem to be quite popular, even on the PC through Windows, so that's all I get adverts for, even on my mobile phone. I like playing word games on my mobile phone. And almost every advert, not on all games. In fact, on the word search one I play, that's not too bad with the mobile gaming ads. Or not as bad as some of the bloody others. It just seems, I don't know what it is, but it just seems to me that everywhere is pushing mobile phone games. Netflix have got them. YouTube have got them. If you scroll down your home page, there's a little section, mobile games, recommended mobile games. It's making me wonder, why are they pushing them so much? And so many of them are the same bloody thing with a different name and a different design, but the principle is still the same. Like Match 3, all Match 3 games are the same, they just changed the items that you've got to match, basically. And once you've played one Match 3 game, you've played them all. That's why I don't bother anymore. I went into a little bit of a rant there, didn't I? That wasn't intended. That would make a nice little office PC. I mean, Windows 11 will probably say it can't be installed on this, but there is actually workarounds on that. I don't know why Microsoft decided to do that, All these years they've made bloody operating systems and whatnot, and they've never restricted the hardware that you can use as much as they have with Windows 11, and I don't understand why. Not when people have proven it will run on the hardware perfectly fine. Just don't get it. Or are they in cahoots with the hardware producers, those that make the hardware? Perhaps they get a share of the profits when people buy the hardware. I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist. Room for a second DVD-ROM. Is a DVD-ROM drive up there, isn't it? Yeah. It would be, wouldn't it? Could put that GPU in there and have a sleeper build. Sort of. Those fans I put in there do pump the air, so I'm not worried about overheating it. I have put thermal paste on it for the umpteenth time, because I've had to take the bloody heatsink off for the umpteenth time, just to get a stupid pedal. Oh, you'll never know how much I hate that style of bloody heatsink. I can see what they were going for, you know, easy and simple to put on, push, twist. They don't always work, because you can see what's happened with that one, look. That's what happens, it's very easy to do that. And then it's impossible to get that bit through the motherboard. Well, they snap off, those little white tabs snap off. I just don't like them. It's probably not a bad thing, as I haven't got any that I can use now, because I've nicked all the posts off of them just to fix this one. Knew I shouldn't have got rid of them all. Well, I'm going to have a bit of a tidy up in the morning, aren't I? But I think for now, once I've shut the video down, I'm just going to do a spot of gaming, probably on some House Flipper 2 or something like that. Finish my barn conversion off. There's no way this thing will run that game. Tell you what, just before I shut the video down, if you tinker with computers, like I do, not as much as I used to, but I do, only because I haven't found anything really to tinker with, get one of them. Little USB 3 to SATA adapter that'll allow you to connect it to your PC, hard drive or SSD, and then you can, well, like I had to do with the SSD here, I had to set it as an MBR, not a GPT, because otherwise you can't install an OS on such drives. It's not the first time I had to do it, and I had to Google it again because I'd forgotten. It's not something I do often. I think it's actually only the second time I've had to do it. But yeah, a very useful and inexpensive item to have. I suppose, in a sense, you could do this. Ooh, and then you've got mobile storage. Don't know if I'd want to move a hard drive around like this though, but you have. Mainly because all of that is exposed. I suppose you could cover that in Kapton tape or something, just to prevent anything metallic touching it and shorten anything out. Mind you, I have done things like that in the past. Not had any issues, touch wood. I tried to avoid that, but sometimes I haven't had many options. And sometimes I'll either do one or two things. I'll either put them that way up if I've got to lay it on something metal, or I would lay something between it, like, I don't know, for example, that bit of Lego. You know, so it creates a bit of space. But I have laid it straight on metal like that without any problems. Well, I'm happy. I've got a computer that I didn't need for a £5. £5 got me a computer that I didn't need. I've been having that itch again, you know, that you get. I'm sure a lot of people get it regardless of what hobby they have. You know, you just get that itch where you want to build something, you want to get something to work, you want to knit something, you want to sew something, you want to, you know, do a bit of woodwork, do a bit of metal work, you know, whatever your hobby is. And for me, I get the itch to just build a random computer at times. I've now scratched that itch. Well, I'm just rambling now, so I'm going to shut the camera down and It's not going to be long before I go to bed. Grab myself a drink. So I is thirsty tonight because it is warm in this flat. Excuse me. I'm still rambling, so thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Hit that like button if you like the video, hit the dislike button if you didn't like it. Leave a comment if you have one. Subscribe, it's totally free to do so. And it helps you follow the channel. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.